Washington, this is VOA News. President Obama says a travel ban from West Africa not the way to go. Death toll mounts in fight over Kobani. I'm Ray Kouguell reporting from Washington. President Obama says a travel ban from West Africa is not the way to go in the fight against Ebola. Mr. Obama, speaking at the White House Thursday, said he has no philosophical objection to keeping travelers from Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone out of the United States. But he said experts have told him that such a ban would be less effective than the procedures already in place. Mr. Obama says travelers would be less likely to be screened and treated, leading to more cases than less. The World Health Organization is sending teams to Mali and Ivory Coast to evaluate the country's Ebola preparedness measures at their shared borders of the affected countries. WHO Health Security Response Chief Dr. Isabel Nuttall.
We're talking about Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, Mali, and Côte d'Ivoire. These four countries have a land border with the affected countries, or they have high travel and trade routes.
European health ministers are in Brussels for high-level talks on how to screen for the Ebola virus at European borders and airports. Human rights monitors say more than 660 people have been killed in a month-long battle for the key town of Kobani along the Syrian border with Turkey. The British-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reports that 374 Islamic State militants were killed in fighting with Kurdish forces. It also says 258 Kurdish fighters have been killed. But the observatory says the overall death toll could actually be twice the number because of extreme secrecy about casualties. This is VOA News. A string of 4 car bomb blasts and a mortar strike killed at least 36 people in Baghdad Thursday. Islamic State militants are claiming responsibility. Pakistan's military says at least 21 insurgents were killed in airstrikes on a tribal region near the Afghan border Thursday. Government forces say they also destroyed 5 suspected militant hideouts. Afghanistan spy agency captured 2 key commanders of the feared Haqqani network, which is fighting the U.S.-led coalition forces alongside the Taliban. Ayaz Gul reports.
Afghan authorities have identified the 2 men as Anas Haqqani and Hafiz Rashid, describing their capture as a blow to the Haqqani network's operational and fighting capabilities. A spokesman for Afghanistan's National Directorate of Security, Abdul Hasib Siddiqui, says the arrests were made on Tuesday in Khost province near the Pakistani border. He added that Anas Haqqani was playing a powerful role as the deputy of his brother Sirajuddin Haqqani, who is the leader of the network. The other captured militant, Rashid, is said to be the group's military commander for Kabul and southeastern Afghanistan. Ayaz Gul for VOA News, Islamabad.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is warning Europe that it faces major transit risks to natural gas supplies coming from Russia unless Ukraine soon settles a pricing dispute with Moscow. Mr. Putin spoke ahead of talks today with Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko and key European leaders on the sidelines of an Asia-Russia summit in Milan, Italy. The Ukraine crisis is expected to dominate the summit. Hong Kong's top leader says he is looking for ways to resume talks with the leaders of pro-democracy protests that have now entered their 3rd week. Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying says an intermediator is helping arrange the talks, which could be held as early as next week. The British Broadcasting Corporation says its English-language website is no longer accessible in China, a move slammed by the broadcaster as an act of deliberate censorship. BBC World Service Group Director Peter Harrock strongly condemned what he called the attempt to restrict free access to news and information. The BBC is protesting the move to Chinese authorities. A cousin of slain model Riva Steenkamp told a South African judge Thursday that Paralympic athlete Oscar Pistorius, convicted of the killing, needs to pay for what he's done. Witnesses for both sides have taken the stand in a days-long sentencing hearing to make the case for how the 27-year-old double amputee will be punished following a culpable homicide conviction last month. And the UN General Assembly has some new members. It elected Angola, Malaysia, New Zealand, Spain, and Venezuela to new 2-year terms on the Security Council. I'm Ray Kouguell in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.